Oh, it's Friday night show. There's so much going on tonight. There is, lastly, Fart Gun is ready to go for all the birthday Fart Gun salutes that need to take place, or they will be belated. But if we did some last week, then those would have been early. So now we got to do a couple belated, a couple early, just to kind of, because it's like Birthday Bonanza in our world right now. And then we also have, I'm excited to show off my trophy again tonight, the toilet trophy. Excited to have that nearby at all times. Again, it has both of us on it because we're both toilet champions. And lastly, well, not lastly, we got Packers stuff to talk about, but this is, I've got a hold of Monaqua Brewing Company. I know the owner of this company. He's a nice guy. And he made an AOC IPA that I'm going to try tonight. So that'll be fun. Because we didn't have too much of the Monaqua Brewing Company because that's way up north. That's in the Northwoods, bro. And now they're sending their beer down south. So I'm going to try one tonight. There you go. That's what I got for you. What do you got? You're tired and you're crabby and you're what? What else?
Tired and I'm crabby and I don't want to be here.
Oh, and I don't want to be here. But that's what constitutes us being professionals, is that we go on. No matter how we're feeling. I didn't feel like doing this show a couple days ago. Actually, lately, this whole week, I've been super stressed out and nothing's falling into place and everything's up in the air and I'm kind of going crazy. But we got to do the show. That's what we do.
Yeah, I believe it.
Gotta do the show. That's a rule. Welcome in. We welcome you in. Ooh, that smells like an IPA. Ooh, extra hoppy. It's going to be a good one. So, tonight, Ben says we can't go too long, and I'm sure you're all excited about that. Well, we have some stuff to talk about. Ben has a whole section of something that was brought to his attention this week. Do you want to tell people about what to look forward to there, Ben? What's happening?
Yep. Most 40-plus touchdown passes since 2015. Aaron Rodgers is not in the top 10.
What? How could they? That can't be a fair list.
For the last 7 years, Aaron Rodgers, and I know he got hurt a couple times in there, but there's guys on this list who have been hurt for like an entire season and are still on the list. So I did a deep dive, a deep, long 3-hour dive into every single touchdown pass he ever threw of 40-plus yards and 30-plus yards to every single player. Wrote it down, got it all figured out here. I got the years. I broke it up pre-2015, after 2015. And there's some eye-opening stats, eye-opening information. So get ready for that later on.
Well, now we know that stats are part of the equation for sure. And a lot of times you can use them to support your point as you create an opinion or whatever else. I saw an interesting article this week that talked about Packers that were on the hot seat or in trouble. And one of them, not to be off the roster, but to lose their spot into any sort of thing. And one of them was Royce Newman. And all of a sudden this guy's referencing how Royce Newman had according to PFF, had 6 penalties or 6 sacks given up and 5 penalties last year. Blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
He sucked at run blocking too.
Except he had barely a worse rating than my guy LP, so I don't get it.
He's still better than Billy Turner, though, I'll tell you that.
I almost forgot about one thing. I'll get to that, too. Rock did a report. Oh, Ben says, or Rick says, how we doing? Ben sounds like 2021 AR. Okay. And he's being grumpy and doesn't want to be here. Got it. That's a good one, Rick. We're getting back to that. Mom says...
That's 2022 AR, too.
Now he's even jerkier about it. Now he's just, and he doesn't care.
I'm out.
I'm up.
Apparently half the team was out too in the last OTAs.
Well, and there's somebody else that's out. Kurt Benkert, Aaron Rodgers defender, Aaron Rodgers character defender. Talked about how great of a teammate he was, how great of a guy he was after people were getting down on him last year and bashing him. And now the Packers say, sorry, Kurt Benkert. You shouldn't have done that. You're out.
It's weird timing.
I know. What the hell? Why are you cutting a quarterback right now?
It's very weird timing because, yeah. I mean, it's not like you're hurting on roster spots. There's not somebody else you can't cut that you're, not worried about losing out of the 90-some guys that are probably on the roster right now. And don't you need at least like 3 quarterbacks just to get through training camp?
That was the other part I was thinking, because Rodgers isn't playing at all. So, and I know you want Love to play a lot, but what if there's like he gets dinged up or something? Like you got to have guys
Well,
that
he did
finish
last year.
games, right?
I mean,
You got to have
Benkert had to play 2 full games last year almost.
And so they whoever named the other quarterback on the roster, I don't know who that guy is. Like I've never heard of him, and I don't know.
Maybe he's really good. He must be better than Kirk Benkert, which
must be.
I don't think that's true, because I thought Benkert looked pretty good.
I heard it was his younger brother Benkert. Might be. His parents were not that creative with names. They had one son named, they named him Kurt. The next one they named him Ben. Their last name is Benkert.
And the middle name, and his middle name is Benjamin. So it's Kurt Benjamin Benkert, and it's Benjamin Kurt Benkert. I'd rather be Ben Kurt Benkert.
Hilarious.
At least you're Ben Kurt Benkert. But when you're Kurt Ben Benkert, that's weird.
That's hard to say too. Oh,
whatever.
Okay.
He's gone. Yep, he skipped. Who cares?
He's out of here. Okay, so a couple things before we jump.
Trade for Gardner Minshew. Let's go.
Gardner. Ben laid it out last week. His rankings in all the Ben categories came up pretty good. So you should think about it, Green Bay. You should think about it, Mr. Goody. Because, just a side note, Ben, on Aaron Rodgers, since we had to mention him quick. So do you realize, for all the Packers fans that are like, Aaron Rodgers, 3 more years or 4 more years or whatever, if he gets to the 3rd year of this contract, he will carry a $77+ million dead cap hit.
What?
Yeah, his dead cap hit would be almost $78 million if he plays 3 more years with the Packers. So that ain't happening.
Maybe.
Anyway, but after this year, it's like 40 million something, and after the next, if it's 2 years, if he plays 2 years, then it's like close to 50 million. But if he plays 3 years, it's like almost $80 million dead cap hit if he's gone after that or whatever. So I don't know how that works. I'm not that smart with math, but that sounds like a hell of a lot of money to be going against your cap when the guy's not even there. Okay. So we got the quarterback information out there. Benkert, Rodgers cost you a lot of money. Got that all down. Check. We're instituting a new rule soon, which is in the off season here. Before we get back to, until Aaron Rodgers is back in the building, we are going to try to limit our Aaron Rodgers time on the show, on each show Friday night, to 5 minutes or less. And we'll see how that goes. Part of that's on you guys in the chat. If you guys start chatting about Rodgers, then we might have to talk about him more. Or if Ben gets, stuff thrown at him like this week, then you got to talk about him more. But otherwise, we're going to just leave, the big kahuna alone. One guy we have to talk about, though, Ben, is Eric Stokes. Everybody is stoked for the 2nd season of Eric Stokes. I mean, everybody. Wow. They're just all going on. They are talking like Eric Stokes, according to some people, one of the top 10 most important Packers on the whole team for this upcoming season. Other people talking about how it's so amazing to have, Jair back with incredible Stokes. And then it's nice to have, Rasul Douglas there because he's a solid, good guy. But Eric Stokes, I mean, oh my God, what he did last year. Wow. Watch out. 2022, people are stoked for Stokes.
I don't know why you hate Eric Stokes so much. You really do hate him.
He's not good.
You just go on and he's fine. He's fine.
I want a 1st round pick that everybody thinks is like the best thing of all time to be the best thing of all time. He's not nearly as good as Jair was in his rookie season.
Compare him to Demarius Randall and Quentin Rollins and
I don't care. Nobody said those
Josh
guys
Jackson and
nobody said those guys
Clinton Puke. I mean, compared to 1st round defensive backs and 2nd round defense, Kevin King. He's 100 times better than all those pieces of crap. So just get off his ass. He sucks when the ball's in the air and he gets beat.
Yeah.
He sucks.
Yeah.
Okay? He can't locate the ball in the air. He doesn't know how to find it. I don't know why. Tremont said it. The first thing you got to do is find the ball in the air and you're fine.
Yep.
You know who finds the ball in the air? Rasul Douglas, every time. Yep. Even if he gets beat, he knows where the ball is. Who cares about where the guy is? Because if the guy never gets the ball, it don't matter. So don't worry about the guy. At some point, once he's past you, look for the ball, because you're never gonna catch him. And that's the thing these guys, him, Savage, need to learn. Once you're beat, once the guy is past you, get your head around. Look for the ball. Keep running straight. And if you don't see it right away, fine. Then come back and look for the, But I don't know if they need glasses or they need LASIK eye surgery or I don't know. But that's the only thing he sucks at. Everything else, he's pretty good. I mean, he's a decent tackler. He's pretty good at getting... Listen, his stats were good last year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But I watched the games and I watched what he did. And I watched how he didn't tackle people, especially late in the year, how he didn't tackle people.
Oh, he's better than Kevin King was.
And stop comparing to Kevin King. Kevin King was trash, and we knew that. This is a guy everybody's trying to tell, like everybody. All the Packer people are doing it, and then on top of it, all the online Packer people are all just stoked about Stokes. And listen, I'm like, put the brakes on it. He did okay last year. He wasn't great. He wasn't good. He's not, He's not going to be the next great cornerback. He's not... Unless he claims that he's like top 5, like Jair, or the best in the league, like Jair or whatever, and makes his own claim, but it's not going to be reality. And I had people sit there and tell me, people questioning Rasul Douglas, but then who was way more impactful than any Packers cornerback we've had since Tremont Williams. But this guy has 1 pick last year, and I know he had 14 passes defended, great. But he gave up some long touchdowns too, and he can't change direction well. Great, he's fast, awesome. That's nice to have, but there's a lot of things to work with there. He's not a great tackler. There's a lot to work with. There's a lot to improve upon. And I'm sitting here hearing like he's the next great cornerback. Whatever. I don't get it. I'm not saying he stinks. I'm just saying it's way too much hype, way too early. The guy played a bunch last year, and he did okay.
It's what the stupid reporters have done for years. They hype up.
Not just the reporters.
They hyped up Ha, for God's sake. Come on.
It was after he made the Pro Bowl, though.
They hyped up Savage after his first year, saying he was going to be something.
Did they really?
Yes, because he started right away. Because they had to, because Gary was such a disappointment. Yeah. So they freaking super hyped up Savage, saying how great he was and how the Packers got some of the best safeties in the league, and Savage did great as a rookie and blah, 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 blah. And he was not even that great, but they said he was all great. I don't know.
All right, we'll get some...
there's sometimes where you're like...
Rational Rick. He says Stokes did fine for a rookie. Let's see if he can step up now that he's no longer in his first year. Okay.
If he starts sucking up the joint this year, then fine, lay into him. But it's just kind of like, I don't know. Be cool, man.
Zero says, our defense is solid. Anything short of Super Bowl equals failure. Well, that's Super Bowl berth, excuse me, not even a win. Okay, I got it. Yeah, Zero, I'm with you there. Look, the defense is going to have to do it, and Aaron Rodgers is going to have to learn that he's going to have to run the ball and just keep the running plays on and let the defense do what they need to do. Look, I just have problems with, come on. Rasul Douglas, I heard some garbage about Rasul Douglas today. And I was like, people are downplaying him. I don't get it. I don't get the guy who came from nowhere and saved your ass and saved the season and saved the team last year and made impactful plays. Like impactful plays. He was your most... What was he? Your defensive MVP? Or he was like
He was the freaking team MVP, dude.
He won 5 awards in the Hafeman Brothers 2021 season awards, right?
Yeah, he's the best.
And they're downplaying this guy, yet this rookie cornerback who did okay, they're like, oh my God, he is the greatest thing of all time. I don't get it. I don't get it.
I think you just need to cool it because
one guy actually did awesome, and the other guy you're just projecting he's going to be fantastic, and I don't get it.
I don't know. I think you're just freaking out.
I don't.
I will say this: you mentioned the 10 most important Packers, and Andy Herman and what's her face chick did that, and
Well, I didn't mention it tonight, but no, you did. So go ahead.
well, you said something about it just now a little while ago. You're like 10 most important.
Well, according to Andy Herman, Eric Stokes he's like
That's what you said. You said Eric Stokes one of the top 10.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing that's funny is he had Dave Bakhtiari, Elton Jenkins, Jair Alexander all on that list. Well, if they're so important, how come when they missed like the whole season last year just about, the Packers still won 13 games?
I know, that was hilarious.
That's the thing that bothers me. It's like, these guys are they're not that important. They might be the most paid, the highest paid players, except for Jenkins, who's, going to be soon. But they're not the most important. Now, if you're saying the most important for the Packers to get to the Super Bowl in the playoffs, then that might be something. But the most important players to the 2022 Green Bay Packer team, no. They don't need him until the playoffs. Then they need Bakhtiari back and in good shape and doing his job.
Yep.
And then they need Jenkins back and in good shape doing his job.
Playing right tackle. That's where they want him.
Well, not playing right there, playing guard.
Apparently they are set. Apparently the Packers, this is the all the information coming out from people who are on the inside or closer to it than us. Although we're going to get closer. We got some news coming up later. We're going to get closer this summer. We're going to get some fresh photos from training camp. But the Packers really want Elton Jenkins to play right tackle, apparently. They really want that. That's what Jason Wilde, Mark Tauscher were talking about this week. Really want that. What do you want that?
No. I definitely don't want him playing center because he was not good at center. Even though everybody thinks he was so great. He wasn't that good. Lukey Patrick way better at center. But no, I don't want him to play right tackle. I want him to play guard. He's a guard. He doesn't have quick enough feet. And he's pretty good at guard. Like, keep him where he's good at. I don't understand.
I know.
The whole moving and shaking and this guy over here and that guy over there and let's draft this guy and move him over here and no.
They're talking about it again. They're talking about, how do we get the best five fitting together and all on the field and, and they're doing all that. I don't know. It's the tackle situation.
Well, there's a lot of stuff. Offensive line is going to be a lot of craziness. And we'll have to
Zero wonder is more important, O-line or D-line? For this Packers team, zero, or you mean in general? If you want to clarify, what do you think? For this Packers team, Ben, this season, what do you think?
When Aaron Rodgers is your quarterback, it's the offensive line. Because if the offensive line starts sucking, then he starts doing dumb crap.
Oh, he's just saying in general. Okay.
In general, it depends. It depends. All I know is this: we had Kenny Clark and a bunch of nobodies for 4 years. So who gives a crap?
Now Kenny Clark's got all this help, and he's gonna.
Yeah, and you know what? All those guys are gonna look way better than him this year, and people are gonna finally shut up about it.
People are talking about now Kenny Clark. You're gonna see how you can use him on passing downs, and you can use him in the 3-tech, and he's gonna be.
Yeah, he's gonna be so great.
He's too slow.
How many times did we watch plays where he's just moving like a snail, and then like Kingsley Kiki like laps him to get to the quarterback, and you're like, good God. Kingsley Kiki came from the other side of the field all the way around to sack the quarterback before Kenny Clark could even move his slow butt over there. He's useless on passing downs, and I don't want to hear it anymore about how he's good. He's not good. And the funniest part is like even when people try to build him up, like they'll still be like Andy Herman and everything. God, I don't want to rip on Andy Herman. I love Andy Herman. He's a really good guy.
He is a good guy.
But when he does talk about Kenny Clark, he always is like, yeah, he's not really a quick twitchy guy. He kind of is more like a slow burn. And I'm like, okay, well, a slow burn is also equals useless. That means he just sits there and does nothing. And then I've heard people say, oh, he takes on double teams and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, he doesn't take on double teams.
Not really that much.
You know who took on double teams? Lancaster took on double teams. And they gave him shit for it. And they were like, Lancaster can't get any pressure on a quarterback. Blah, 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 blah. What are his sack numbers compared to Kenny Clark's sack numbers? I bet you they're not that different over the last couple years. But I can show you play after play after play of Lancaster taking on double teams in the running game. I can tell you that. And when they stopped Derrick Henry against the Titans 2 years ago in the snow game when A.J. Dillon went nuts, it was freaking Lancaster who freaking took on the double teams and dominated that crap. And Derrick Henry had nowhere to go, and he got like no freaking yards that game. But going into the game, we were all scared to death. Think he was going to run all over us. It wasn't Kenny Clark taking on the double teams in that game. It was Lancaster.
So here's a quick follow up on that, because I was thinking of I was trying to figure out a guy who reminded me in terms of not the same type of guy, but the same type of production. And so Kenny Clark looks really good, sometimes almost dominant, sometimes against bad offensive linemen. Right?
Yeah.
And then when he plays like the best offensive linemen or really good lines, then he looks average or okay to good.
Dude, there's film where he doesn't even leave the line of, like, he's still at the line of scrimmage.
I know.
With one guy blocking him.
I know. And
it's really bad.
That was what Mike Daniels was like, right? Like Mike Daniels, remember those games against bad offensive line? He looked amazing.
Yeah, but you know what else Mike Daniels did? He would put his knee in the ground and knock out two guys so that somebody else can make a play. So
here's my point. This is what I want to get to when I'm bringing up Mike Daniels. As I'm saying, it's similar type of stuff. Like Mike Daniels would play a crappy offensive lineman, he'd look awesome. And then he'd play the really good offensive lines and he would be okay. Right?
Yeah.
But he still did his job. However, Kenny Clark, oh my God, he's the greatest thing of all time. They talk about him all the time. They gave him all that money. Mike Daniels, they didn't talk about him all the time. And then see you later, right?
They cut him because Aaron Rodgers didn't like him. Aaron Rodgers didn't like his leadership style.
Who would you prefer on the field, your defensive tackle? Kenny Clark, Mike Daniels. They're both slow.
Right now?
Not right now, but like around the same age, whatever.
Mike Daniels, 100%.
Me too.
Because he's 100% go. He always goes 100%.
The only thing I wanted from him was to not be like yelling and so fired up all the time, because I felt he was using too much energy. What he does. I know, but he's using so much energy, like yelling and getting all excited on the sideline. I'm like, save it for the field, bro. Save it for when you're on the field. Yeah,
that's what he did.
That's what he did. And he did
Mike Daniels was a great Packer and a great star. And he had a great personality, and he was just an awesome guy. And it's too bad that, and I know he got injured a couple times there, and then they were like, see ya, and whatever. But it was also that, they didn't like his leadership style.
He held guys accountable, though.
I know. That's something that sometimes.
I like.
And I could see it getting on your nerves after a while. Well, the guy's yelling at all the time for like the last, he was there for 5-6 years, whatever, yelling all the time.
Yep.
And it might not have meshed with some guys.
But he came from nothing too. He was not much expected from him, and he turned into a really good player for them. Okay, so I don't know.
It's funny how a lot of those guys are like, listen, a lot of those guys are our favorite guys, and they always have been. Aaron Jones, Mike Daniels, these are guys that, 5th round picks, 6th round picks, came from out of nowhere, became superstars on the Packers, or not superstar, but stars. Great guys, maximized their talent because of effort and willpower, and they were awesome guys. Tremont Williams, Micah Hyde, those are our favorite. Lukey Patrick, those are our favorite guys because we know they never quit. We know that when they're out there, it's always 100%. We know that they love football, and they definitely love being Packers when they were here. And you can't say that for some other guys, and that's, I don't know. Is it a first round pick thing? These guys, they're first round picks, so they're prima donnas and they think they're the men and all this kind of crap. I don't know. Who knows?
We'll find out.
Aaron Jones, like AJ Dillon, even AJ Dillon, second round pick, but everybody loves him. Why? Because he's just an awesome dude.
Yep.
And he's a good player.
Yep.
So when you can combine awesome dude with good player, it's really easy to get behind somebody. But then when they are just so guys or just have like no personality like Kenny Clark, and then they also don't bring it on the field, it's just hard to figure out. Okay, well, why does everybody bring this guy up and like prop him so high up? And it's because he was a first round pick.
Well,
and we had so many Justin Harrells and guys like that we had like, oh my God, this guy actually didn't suck garbage. He was actually good. So we have to prop this guy up higher than what he actually is, all because he's a first round pick. Not because he's a great player. He's a good player. But everybody talks about him like he's a great player because he's a first round pick. But it's a shame because he's not as good as everybody says he is.
Well, and he does. I mean, he has those games where he looks great. He has
like
games.
One or two plays where he looks good in a game, but not game. He can't. He's never dominated a game.
Not even as much as Mike Daniels did against the Seahawks.
No, Mike Daniels. That game against the Seahawks, Mike Daniels destroyed that offensive line.
Killed all of them.
Every time, quick twitch, boom, Russell Wilson toast. Quick twitch, boom, tackle Lynch in the backfield. Quick twitch, boom, Russell Wilson toast. There was that one game, and that offensive line was terrible. The interior offensive line. But Mike Daniels had his way with those dudes, and he dominated that game. Name me one game where Kenny Clark had 3 plays that were awesome in it. No, I remember one game, the 49ers game. It was 4th and 1, and the 49ers went for it. And all the Packers' defense was like looking at each other and doing dumb crap. And lucky for us, Kenny Clark knew what the hell was going on. He took on 3 freaking dudes. And then Ty Summers smacked the freaking quarterback and fumble, right? And then Kevin King picked it up and ran, and everybody said, Kevin King, oh, yay. And then he was too slow to get more than like 30 yards downfield. Should have been a touchdown if anybody else picked it up. But that was a great play by Kenny Clark. Great play. He took on 3 dudes on a 4th and 1 and stuffed them. Luckily, him and Ty Summers were on the same page. And then Ty Summers made an awesome play by stopping the 4th and 1, right?
That's where you got to have all 11 on the same. Oh, no, you don't.
Well, not that one. It was 2 out of 11, right? The other 9 guys had no idea what was going on. They're all looking at each other and standing still. Like, honest to God, if they would have just ran the ball to the left or the right and not did a quarterback sneak, that play would have been fine because nobody else knew what the hell was going on. But, so, I mean, I'm not saying Kenny Clark is terrible, okay? I'm just, whatever. It's the same type of thing. Like, the difference between Kenny Clark and Eric Stokes, you get all over Eric Stokes. Eric Stokes has got 1 year in the league, okay? Yep. And yeah, they're propping him up, and he's a first-round pick. But Kenny Clark has got 5-6 years in the league. He was a first-round pick, and they're propping him up like he's a superstar, and he's not. And that's the difference. It's been year after year after year of okay to good play. Does not equal superstar. Does not equal the amount of credit he gets for doing nothing. And that's why I get on you for Eric Stokes, because now, 2 years from now, if they're still saying Eric Stokes is top corner and he's, not, maybe he's okay. He does a pretty good job of stopping plays when they're in front of him, but he sucks when a guy gets past him. He doesn't get many picks. Sometimes he misses tackles, gives up plays on 3rd and 8 and 4th and 2 like he usually gives up in games. Okay, then we got an issue. Then we can go after him like we go after Kenny Clark. Because people be propping him up for no reason, just because the stats look good, right? But this year, Kenny Clark's got no more freaking excuses. He's got a first-round pick defensive lineman that they just drafted. He's got a veteran they just signed who's had a very good career. And they got a guy from last year in Slayton who looked pretty decent, who was learning the position of D tackle, moving from guard or whatever he was played a couple years before that. So this year he's got no excuse. And Dean Lowry, who's coming off his best season as a professional. He's got no excuses anymore. If he doesn't start making plays this year, with all the help, it's going to be interesting to see if the other guys all of a sudden make a bunch of plays and he just does nothing, which is what I predict to happen, by the way. Then we'll see what the Packer fans say about him.
Zero, we'll do a first round pick review again in the off season, like sometime here when there's nothing else going on, because we did that a few years ago. It was pretty painful. Remember we went through all those first round picks that were pretty bad. Look, in terms of Stokes and stuff, all I'm saying is this: I don't understand why people are down, because that's the part to me that just drove me crazy. Like, why are people downplaying Rasul Douglas and not even saying his name right, but like Stokes,
I know.
They're just pumping the hell out of the guy. I just don't get it. One guy made all these game-changing plays and was freaking awesome last year, and one guy did okay. Like I don't get it. And I want to clear up
because there's 4 years of Douglas doing nothing.
Nope, untrue. That's
I know.
There was misinformation out there that said he did nothing for his first 4 years of his career. That's wrong. He had a rough year in we covered this on our show.
I know,
rough year in
Jason.
Carolina.
I know this.
And
you don't have to yell at me.
His first couple of years are pretty darn good.
But the problem is, these people don't. They just look at his total stats before he came to the Packers. They don't look at individual seasons. They don't look at games played. They don't look at games started. They don't look at plays played. They don't look at all that stuff like we did to see that, Douglas was good before he got to the Packers. When he was on the Eagles, he was a dang good player. You know? And that's the thing. They don't. They just look at it as a lump sum. They add the Carolina year in there. They add the fact that he was on the practice squad of the Cardinals. How good could he be if he was just on the practice squad of the Cardinals? And that's the thing. But why they don't prop him up, but they prop up Stokes? It's very simple. First round pick, dude. First round pick that didn't completely suck.
All right, he will repeat it, Rick. He's gonna be good. Okay, lastly, just one more thing to move on from after. We'll get to other stuff. One more thing, one more bit of misinformation that was put out. I'm not going to name names, but somebody talked about, great players on the Packers and said they had, 9 great players. And then there was an honorable mention in there, and it was Mercedes Lewis. If you were just talking about blocking, I mean, and the quote was, he's clearly great at blocking as a tight end, maybe one of the best ever blocking tight ends in the history of the NFL.
Well, he might be as a total like his whole entire career, but at this point,
we're looking at the last couple of years, bro. When he's on the Packers, I don't care about all the years he did in Jacksonville. That doesn't count anymore for us right now. The narratives, like, what the hell is that? He's a nice dude. He's good leadership guy. Great. He's been an awesome pro, no doubt, and I like him. But the blocking ain't so great anymore, and he doesn't do a heck of a lot when he gets the ball either. Now, most of the Packers tight ends for many years haven't been able to do much when they catch the ball. I'm hoping Tyler Davis can.
That's interesting. I got some stats that might prove that wrong, actually.
And I'm hoping that DeGuara, last year I thought DeGuara was one of their better run after the catch guys and the chances he got.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when he was in college, like I told you, I watched the tape on him and I'm like, the guy's always open for like 20 yards passes. I don't know why he gets open. I don't know if the team just does it and they know the ball's going to him as they had nobody else.
Yeah.
Because Alec Pierce wasn't there yet, right? Like he wasn't a guy who, because he played at Cincinnati. And for some reason, there he was, making a 20-yard catch downfield, making a 30-yard catch downfield. And it's like, why is nobody covering this guy? Or how does he get open? Or I don't know. But he seems to make plays.
Yeah.
So, he could be pretty good.
Tunyon, we've talked about him. Tunyon does a lot of good work getting open, catching the ball, but he needs to work on run after the catch. He hasn't been effective at that. And it's nice when you have a tight end that can run after the catch, it makes a big difference. But just in general as wide receivers too, and I know the Packers have that right now. Speaking of wide receivers, before we go on to the next part, we have to say did you hear about the mysterious disappearance of Juwan Winfrey at the final day of minicamp practices?
Yeah. Did you hear that he was back in OTAs next week? This last week?
Well, I think it was because someone wasn't there anymore.
You're such an idiot, dude.
Just
Why do you say stuff like that? It doesn't matter.
Just remember.
Juwan Winfrey is not going to do anything.
Just remember. Juwan Winfrey.
That would interview Thomas last year. Was there anything that surprised you kind of about the game day operations or how this group goes about game day that maybe you
crossed the line?
More so for me was just expecting the unexpected. For me, it's easy to get comfortable out there. But,
easy to get comfortable.
With Aaron Rodgers, you got to expect the unexpected. You can't be set on one play.
Can't be comfortable
because next thing you know, he can go in and change it. So for me, it was just getting ready to experiment with all these sudden changes and just being able to expect the unexpected and not being too comfortable. You know, like Coach says all the time, be comfortable not being comfortable.
Okay.
Oh, and then he disappeared. That's all I'm saying.
Dude. You're crazy.
All right, fair enough. Anyway, never mind. Remember everybody's down on the Packers wide receivers. I got a number one category there. Number one. They're going to be number one in this category this year. Can you guess the category?
Yes.
Okay, tell me what you think it is.
Total percentage of cap.
Pretty much, yeah. It's very similar to that. I was going with because Alan Lazard signed his 1-year tender, okay, because he had no other choice. I don't know why he signed it when he signed it. It was really weird timing, right? Like, might as well wait longer then. But anyway, so he's going to make less than $4 million. Randall Cobb took a pay cut so other guys could get paid. So he's down to $3 million. Sammy Watkins' base salary was like $450 or $350, like super cheap. I don't know how you get. I don't even know how that's legal, but so and those are the three guys Aaron Rodgers mentioned as their top three guys. So I believe that the Packers wide receivers are going to be number one in cheapest per snap, least money spent per snaps on the field. Green Bay Packers wide receivers number one,
which is good considering where the wide receiver market has gone this offseason. So you can't complain much about that.
I just think it's hilarious, though.
They got to save money somewhere when they're dishing out big dough to Jair and big dough to the defense, Campbell and Douglas and Aaron Rodgers, and so where are they saving money at? Well, wide receiver.
Douglas didn't get that much. He really didn't.
Yeah, but I mean, he got some.
Since I already got us distracted on that one and the Juwan Winfrey, one more distracting thing before we move on, and that is, I don't know if you knew this, but we both know Bill Huber. Anyone that's ever listened to Packers pressers or post games, they know who Bill Huber is.
Great writer, terrible voice.
Well, apparently that's not the only thing he does, because Lineker came home the other day from going to a car place here in Madison and found this. He is also the express service advisor at Don Miller Subaru here in Madison. I didn't know if you knew that. See, it's true. Bill Huber.
Okay. Is it the same Bill Huber?
I mean, I'm assuming so. It's the only Bill Huber I know.
Well, you know what? Our mom got confused with another lady, Hafeman, who starts with their first name with a J, who's born on the exact same day. So if that can happen, anything can happen. There could be two Bill Hubers in Wisconsin. Who knows?
Oh, man. All right. So, Ben, one other question about wide receivers. There are some people out there currently right now making videos talking about how, man, there's these opportunities for these young wide receivers. I really see this is a year that, rookie wide receivers are going to make an impact, have an opportunity to really do it. Because I know Devante Adams. What do you think it's even possible?
No. Not with Aaron Rodgers as a quarterback. Especially at this point where he owns the team. I mean, he owns the team. He makes 10 times the amount of money as Matt LaFleur per season. 10 times the amount of money per season of your head coach. That means, and he probably makes 10 times the amount of money as Goody makes. And he probably makes at least 5 times what Mark Murphy makes. So he owns a team. And as we know, he mentioned his 3 guys. Those are the guys getting the ball. The other guys aren't getting the ball. Unless a miracle happens.
Yep.
That's all you can say.
So for all the people that are getting pumped up about, Christian Watson and all this sort of stuff, and it's not going to happen. Rodgers not going to let it happen. So.
Well, it might happen, and whenever we want to get over this 40-plus touchdown passes, I'll tell you.
Okay, we'll go to that next. But just think about this, right? MVS, when they drafted those receivers, right? MVS, EQ, and Jamon. I mean, MVS couldn't do squat the first year either. He started to a little bit, and then all of a sudden Rodgers turned, he dropped the ball or did this or that or didn't do the check right, and all of a sudden he faded. Remember how he faded that year, and all of a sudden it was nothing? And then all of a sudden then EQ is going to get to do some stuff, but then he faded away too and didn't do anything. But that's what it's like. So you can't even, like, they might have a couple of games here and there where they might get some plays and be a little bit impactful.
Well, that's what it'd be.
But it's not going to last long because,
that's what it'll be. It won't be a consistent thing unless, something happens, like injury-wise. If somebody gets hurt or whatever, like Lazard gets hurt or whoever gets hurt, then then these guys will have to play.
You're right. Injuries are the only thing that could change it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Go ahead with your 40-plus touchdown passes, most 40-plus touchdown passes by quarterbacks since 2015.
Okay, here we go. Most 40-plus touchdown passes since 2015. These are the top 10. Kirk Cousins had 32. So that's a 7-year period. 32 touchdowns of 40-plus yards in 7 years. Phillip Rivers, 30. He didn't even play last year. So what does that tell you? Russell Wilson, 28. Derek Carr, 26. Patrick Mahomes.
How did Phillip Rivers have that many?
Because Phillip Rivers he's a freaking crazy dude. Anticipation throws. A lot of deep throws are anticipation throws. You read the defense. You know where your guy's going to be. You throw to where the defense is not and where your guy's going to be. That's Phillip Rivers.
All right.
He's not an idiot. It's also, some of it is run after the catch and whatever, everything else too.
Right.
But,
yeah, sure.
And I didn't look up every single player on these guys, but Rodgers, I looked up every single touchdown pass. So just so you know, Carr 26, Mahomes 26. That's tied for fourth. Tom Brady 25, and Matt Ryan 25. That's tied for sixth. So Matt Ryan 25. That's Here's the one that shocked me. Ryan Tannehill 23. So in the last 7 years, the guy wasn't even starting for a couple years in there. He was on a crappy Dolphins team. So he's got 23 in the last 7 years, and a lot of that is probably mostly with the Titans, but who knows?
And just to confirm, these are 40-yard touchdowns.
40-plus yard touchdown passes.
So you know those Matt Ryan ones, hardly any of them went to Julio Jones.
Right.
He never gets any touchdowns.
You're right. Right. Yep. He only gets like 2. Then number 9, Dak Prescott and Matt Stafford tied at 9 for 22 touchdown passes of 40-plus yards in the last 7 years. Where do you think Aaron Rodgers is? Where do you think how many touchdowns do you think he has over the last 7 years of 40-plus?
I thought we would have got to him by now.
We did not.
No?
He's not in the top 10. I don't even know where he actually ranks. I just have his total number because I looked it up, and I went through every single dang touchdown pass that he had of whatever in the stats.
So we got the top 10, and we were at, what, 22, you said?
I'll give you another secret weapon.
Okay.
To help you. No, that's all right. Go ahead. What do you think? Yeah, 22 is Matt Stafford.
Okay. I'm going to say Prescott. 16.
Wow. That's lower than I thought you were going to say.
Oh, well.
I thought it'd be like 21. I mean, I thought he'd be, when I saw that and he wasn't even on the list, I thought he'd have like 30.
Because just in the last couple of years, MVS has had.
Just from MVS, right? You got to be thinking, oh my God. And I can remember like, Tanya.
Lazard had that one where he was like almost falling down. Yeah, okay.
Well, here's the thing. Lazard actually did not have a reception of 40-plus yards. He had 2 of 30-plus yards.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I also looked at 30-plus yards too. But here's the thing. Rodgers had 19 over the last 7 years.
7 years. Jesus.
And here's where he got hurt a couple times in there, right? Collarbone
sort
stuff.
Of. Yeah, I mean the 17 season, but what else? I mean, I know he got hurt in 18, but he played every game.
Yeah.
So come on, man.
So here's where the touchdowns go with, right?
Okay.
There were 6 players with 1 touchdown of 40-plus yards during that time. They include Aaron Jones. So that wasn't a deep bomb. That was probably that was a Kansas City screen pass.
Oh no, he stepped out of bounds.
They stepped out of bounds, but they didn't call it. I don't think they called it on that, did they? Maybe they did. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that was a quick screen pass one. The one down the sideline is where he went out of bounds. That's right. Okay.
Jake Kumaro, who by the way has 3 touchdowns in his career, all of them are over 30+ yards.
I guess called for him every time.
He only has 3 touchdowns in his entire career. He has 2 from Aaron Rodgers of one of 30+, one of 40+, and then one from what's his face, Josh Allen of 30+. So he's only got 3 touchdowns. They're all 30+ yards. That's it. Another one from Geronimo. 2 from Randall Cobb, which came obviously in the 2015, 2016 seasons, older. We got the one Richie Rodgers Hail Mary against Detroit. Robert Tonyan had 1, which was probably against that was the first one against
Seattle.
Dallas. Was it Seattle?
No. Well, that one play he had when he was
where
they finally put him on the field and threw to him. I was like, why didn't I get the guy out there more?
Yep, that was the one, and that was another. So the one to Richard Rodgers and the one to Robert Tonyan were both crazy plays where the defense didn't even know where they were, and Rodgers just chucked it up to him, right? So that's that. James Jones had 1, so that was in 2015. By the way, Jordy Nelson got injured in this preseason of 2015. So I was wondering when Jordy got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's the other one. Devante Adams has 3. So 3 40+ yard touchdowns in the last 7 years with as many targets as that guy has gotten.
Wow. 3. And he had how many touchdowns total? I can look it up if you don't know.
72 or something.
Yeah, because he set the team record, right? Or was he?
Yeah, he got past Eric. He got past Jordy. Jordy has 69.
Yeah.
Anyways, but here's the kicker. So when you add that all together, that's 11. That's 11 out of the 19. To James Jones, Devante Adams, Robert Tonyan, Richie Rodgers, Randall Cobb, Geronimo, Kumaro, Aaron Jones. The other 8, all MVS. Not only that, every single one of MVS's touchdowns in his career, because he only has 8, are all 40+ yard touchdowns.
That's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. And we let that guy walk. That's the guy we should have signed back. Just because of the difference maker he is. So think about that. Without MVS, Aaron Rodgers has 11 touchdowns of 40+ yards in the last 15 seasons. Wow. And people thought we were crazy when we said MVS might be the key to the Packers. So not only does he score huge touchdowns on drives, right? He also opens up the field underneath for everybody else. So that's that. And now when it comes to 30-yard touchdowns in the last over how many years, I didn't quite separate that. But here's the stats just for this.
So quick follow-up.
Yeah, go ahead. What do you got? What's your question on that?
Devante Adams has a total of 73 touchdowns in his career.
73 touchdowns, yep. So
and
3 of them are 40+.
Wow. All right. Very impactful. Okay, continue on.
Yeah, really awesome. So now what we're going to do is let's look at Aaron Rodgers' first 7 years as a starter in the NFL. From 2008 until 2014. Okay, so that's a 7-year career there, right? His first 7 years. And that would be more in line with Cousins, Carr, Mahomes, Tannehill, Prescott, right? Those guys are all younger. So in the last 7 years, those guys have between 22 and 32 touchdowns, right? Kirk Cousins with 32 of 40+ yards. Derek Carr, 26. Mahomes, 26. Tannehill, 23. Prescott, 22, right? Okay. Here's Aaron Rodgers, the first 7 years of his career. He has 1 to Eddie Lacy, where he probably, bumbled and stumbled his way down through the field. He has 1 to Spencer Hafeman. I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Spencer Hafeman, I remember him.
Yep. And he has 1 to Jermichael Finley. So those are the only 3 players who have just 1. Okay? Where in the last 7 years, he's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys with just 1. Right? Then there's Tom Crabtree had 2, and Randall Cobb had 2. And one of them we know was that Bears game at the end of the game where he found him at the end, right?
Oh, yep.
Not the one where that was in 2018. The one where he came back and made and Khalil Mack looked like a ding dong, and that was the one where Rodgers was hurt and all that. That came earlier or later. Anyways, so there's 2 guys with 2, and here's the other two guys that are kind of lower down on the list. James Jones, 5. And Double D, 4. So you're thinking, so just there you got 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. That's 16 touchdowns just there in the first 7 years of his career, if you don't include Greg Jennings and Jordy Nelson. So that tells me...
Damn, James Jones got deep that many times? Watch out.
Yeah, he did. And that tells me Rodgers played much differently, obviously, back then than he does nowadays. So 16 without the big, deep threats, as opposed to 11 without the big, deep threats. And then when you add Greg Jennings and Jordy Nelson in, Greg Jennings has 10 from Aaron Rodgers of 40-plus yards. He had way more than that, though, if you had the Brett Favre stuff in there. And then Jordy Nelson had 17 touchdowns of 40-plus yards from Aaron Rodgers. He has more than that. But just from Aaron Rodgers, he has 17 40-plus yard touchdowns. Now, here's the other thing that I want to say. When you add all that together, how much do you think that is? 17 just to Jordy Nelson in a 7-year period. And you know Jordy didn't play 2008, 2009. Right. So you're talking 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014. In a 5-year period, pretty much, Jordy Nelson had 17 touchdowns of 4-plus yards. And people say Devante Adams is better than Jordy Nelson.
No, not even close.
Come on. But we're not gonna get in that. How many touchdowns? How many touchdowns do you think that is in the first 7 years of Aaron Rodgers' career of 40-plus yards?
I wasn't writing them all down, but I'm gonna just estimate 38,
43.
43. Okay.
3 touchdowns in his first 7 years as a starting quarterback. And what's the highest guy over the last 7 years? Kirk Cousins with 32. Aaron Rodgers had 43 touchdowns of 40-plus yards when he played within the system and took some shots instead of playing safe and worried about his numbers.
He threw more picks than back
Yeah, he
then,
did. He threw more picks. He also had over twice as many damn touchdowns of 40-plus yards. 43 touchdowns of 40-plus yards. That is craziness. Complete craziness. And then to go to 19 the next 7 years, even though you've got MVS there. No, MVS probably dropped a good 3 of those, so maybe he'd have 3 more because MVS dropped stuff. But hey, Jordy Nelson dropped a couple balls. Although James Jones drops it unless it's a hard catch. If it's thrown right in his hands, he dropped it, right? I'll tell you, guy never dropped it, though. Greg Jennings. Never. Greg Jennings is way better than Devante Adams, by the way, too. Sorry, Rick. No offense. But here's the other stat that I want to go. So that's just the Aaron Rodgers stuff. Aaron Rodgers during his first 7 years, that's why we bring this up, everybody. That's why we're so mad about Aaron Rodgers. That's why we give crap to Aaron Rodgers. He's a different player than what he was when he was younger. And we know that in 2008, he didn't have the stats. He only had 1 of 40-plus yards in 2008, by the way. 1.
That was in the last game, the Double D,
yes,
right?
Yes.
That was the last touchdown of that season, or last game of the season.
Yeah. So 2009, he had 1 or 2. 2010, he had a couple. 11, he had a crap ton of Jordy and Greg Jennings. That was nuts. But, I mean, he just played. He was a better player. He was a better quarterback. He was a more, maybe not better, but he was a more dangerous quarterback. More dangerous and scared the crap out of everybody he faced. He's not that anymore. And teams know it. They know exactly what he's doing. And that's why I get so upset, and that's why Jason's getting upset, and why we want to see him go back to being Aaron Rodgers that we know he can be. 43 touchdowns of 40-plus yards in a 7-year period, when the next guy for the last 7 years is Kirk Cousins with 32. Holy, 43! That blows that away. Aaron Rodgers, his first 7 years as a starter, is probably the best quarterback in the history of NFL. Period. With his ability to move the chains with his legs, his deep shots, he still has a low percentage rate there. His accurate passing, his willingness to throw down the middle. I mean, look at these touchdowns to Jermichael Finley, Spencer Havener, Tom Crabtree, Robert Tonyan, Richie Rodgers, James Jones. He's not a speed threat outside. Those are all guys, don't get me wrong, Jordy at 17, whatever. Okay. That's what I'm saying about that. What do you think about that? The 43-19. What's your opinion on that? Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy. I'll give him this, that more teams played 2 deep safeties after that. Like probably he probably saw more 2 deep safety looks, 2 shell looks over the last 7 years than he did the first 7 years. But there's still a very drastic difference in the way he approaches the game and the chances he'll take. And it's clear. And we know the reasons why. Because back then, if you look at the stats, he had seasons of double-digit interceptions a handful of times, right? I mean,
yep.
He threw 12 picks, 10 picks, 11 picks, 13 picks. But then once he started kind of getting to that area where, wow, I mean, everyone was so impressed on how he took care of the ball. And granted, taking care of the ball is super important. Get it. But not at the cost of not making plays that are there. So, and I understand. Wait, what was his name? Darius Shepard. I understand. Darius Shepard let the ball bounce off his face that one year and gave Rodgers an interception. I get it. Dumb stuff will happen sometimes when you throw in the middle.
That wasn't in the middle either. That was like to the outside,
right.
But it was.
But anyway,
I
get it.
Slipped as it was coming to him, and
I know.
It was bad.
Sometimes dumb stuff's going to happen, and it's more likely it'll happen when it's in the middle of the field. But if you don't use that part of the field and attack it, you're leaving plays, you're leaving first downs, you're leaving points out there on the field. 100%.
Well, here's the other thing that's really key to all of this is the weapons around him. It's not just the play was changed. I mean, with a drastic number like that, 43 compared to 19, it's also his play has changed. There's no doubt. He's way more safe. But the other thing is the talent around him is way less. And it's just, you got to be honest about it. When you have Greg Jennings, Jordy Nelson, here's the thing that's really interesting about Greg Jennings, Jordy Nelson. I also went and I got the 30-plus touchdown passes, right? And I wrote those all down. Greg Jennings had 10 40-plus touchdowns. He only had 1 more if you added the 30-plus touchdowns. So that means he pretty much he was really good. That means you're good after the catch, right? Or you're like a deep threat. You catch it, you go, right? And you're gone, and you're going to score. It wasn't like he got caught or whatever. Double D, he had 4 from, and a lot of his career is from Brett Favre, but from Aaron Rodgers, he had 4 touchdowns of 40-plus yards. He only had 1 more if you add the 30-plus yards. So same type of thing. Double D was able to jiggle and wiggle and get himself by guys and get to the end zone sometimes by just making guys miss. Jordy Nelson had 17, right, of 40-plus. He had 21 when you add the 30-plus, so only 4 more from 30-plus. But still, that's 21 of 30-plus yards. That's freaking nuts. The guy was a monster. The guy was probably scarier than crap to defensive coordinators. They're like, oh, my God, we got to just – could you imagine how good if Aaron Jones was the running back on that team? Oh, my God, he would have killed everybody because no defense would have been – they would have been so scared of getting beat from Jordy every time.
Yeah, because if you get sucked up for a second, he was past you, no problem, And then he'd always make the safeties miss.
That was awesome. He'd cut in and then out and then in and then go. Boom.
Yeah, it's just, yeah.
And MVS, like I said, he has got 8 of 40-plus. Well, that's all he's got, 8 of 40-plus. He's got 8 touchdowns, period, his whole career. Everything's at 40-plus yard touchdown. So that's one thing. But when you look at the guys who aren't as fast, okay, so we're talking players who are good, like the possession receivers, right? So like Randall Cobb, he's got 4 touchdowns from Aaron Rodgers of 40-plus. He's got another 5 when you add the 30-plus. So he's got 9 touchdowns of 30-plus yards. Okay? But he's not a burner, right? A lot of times when he got the 40-plus yards, it was because the defense broke down or the one play where, against the Bears in 2018 where he juked and jived and got us all the way down there and guys are blocking for him. So those are things that happen. Another guy, James Jones, right? He's got 6 of 40-plus. He's got 10 of 30-plus. So it's almost half, right? And he's not a speed burner either. But so you got 4 more touchdowns of 30-plus because he wasn't quite the speed burner. It wasn't the difference.
But James Jones was probably one of the best tackle-breaking wide receivers the Packers have had in a long time.
Yeah, because he wasn't fast.
Yep. But, I mean, he was shifty, but he also was really strong. Like, he could actually break There aren't that many receivers that actually can break tackles, and James Jones could run through arm tackles, break tackles, and keep going.
Well, a lot of these deep touchdowns to him were him lined up as the outside receiver, and the corner would be right on him, and Rodgers would throw it, and he'd catch it right in stride, and the guy would try to tackle him, and Jones would just like shove it off, and then there'd be nobody left to stop him. And, he'd break the tackle and score a touchdown. And that's how James Jones did it, where Jordy would like weave through guys, right? And Greg Jennings would just beat the guy so bad that he was like wide open. When you watch Greg Jennings highlights, it's crazy how much he beat the guy in front of him and how quick he did it. Unlike the next guy, Devante Adams.
There's somebody that says Devante Adams really beats guys so quickly, almost in half a second.
How many touchdowns do you think Devante Adams has of 30-plus yards? He had 3 40-plus. Do you think he has more than Randall Cobb, 30-plus yards?
I'm going to say he has a total of 5 when you add in the 30s.
All right, he has a total of 7, but only 6. Okay. Only 6 from Aaron Rodgers. One of them was from good old Brett Hundley.
Brett Hundley, that's right.
So Devante Adams has 6 of 30-plus, 3 of 40-plus. Out of his 73 touchdowns, only 6 of them were 30-plus yards. That's not a dynamic player. I'm sorry, Rick. I know you're in your listening right now. We schooled your butt on that trade. We got a first and second round pick, and you got a guy who's gonna just catch some. I mean, luckily you got Darren Waller. Maybe he's a game breaker. I mean, I'd take Nelson Aguilar over Devante Adams at this point. But that's a key stat to me. Jordy Nelson had 21 touchdowns of 30-plus yards. Just from Aaron Rodgers, right? Even Greg Jennings, who played half his career with Brett Favre, had 11 touchdowns of 30-plus yards from Aaron Rodgers. Devante Adams, out of his 73 touchdowns, 69 from Aaron Rodgers, or whatever it is, he's got 6 touchdowns of 30-plus yards. That's it.
On 669 receptions.
669 receptions.
6 of them were 30-plus yard touchdowns. That's it.
And that's the best receiver in the NFL? You don't have to worry about him.
No.
When he's on the field, you have zero fear. If I was a defensive coordinator, I wouldn't be worried at all. I wouldn't double team him. I'd only double team because I know Rodgers is dumb, is going to throw it to him all the time, which is what the 49ers did in the playoffs. But they also changed their what they were doing. But anyways, that's what all these stats are telling me. Aaron Rodgers played differently back then. Greg Jennings, Jordy Nelson, way better than Devante Adams. Sorry, everybody. And maybe even Randall Cobb's better than Devante Adams. No offense. But I think he is. Maybe not at this point, but previously in his career. Because at least Randall Cobb could like juke and get open right away. Devante, it takes 5 years for him to get open.
That is some people, and the word is, and the players have talked about it, look at that move off the line of scrimmage. He wins so quick. Well, if you go back and actually watch snap to him moving off more than basically off the line of scrimmage where he could disengage from his defender. Like, yes, a lot of times he ends up beating them, but it takes 2 seconds. It literally, in 2 seconds, when you have a terrible offensive line, is a long time. So this whole myth that continues to be just recirculated, that Devante Adams wins so quickly and wins so. What are you going to do without that safety blanket of the guy that wins right away at the line of scrimmage? He won at the line of scrimmage a lot. I'll give him that, but it didn't happen quick. It happened after a bunch of juke moves in like 2 seconds. So
I also want to say one more thing about Devante Adams that I noticed is when he's on the outside and he beats his guy and Rodgers throws him a perfect pass, right by the sidelines. A lot of times he catches that pass and then immediately runs out of bounds.
Yep.
Immediately runs out of bounds. Where Jordy Nelson and Greg Jennings would catch that pass and beeline it to the end zone. How many times you watch Devante catch that pass and then he just runs out of bounds? Because it's a first down and you get it, and that's great. Oh, no. How about if you run? How about if you keep going? Maybe you'll score. Maybe you'll break a tackle like James Jones. You know you don't have the speed, but maybe you'll break the tackle and you run for a touchdown, a big, deep one. Doesn't happen.
I know Mom doesn't like it when she would see it all the time. She'd call it out. I mean, it happens. How many times?
How many times? How many times do you watch Devante catch that pass and then he just runs out of bounds? Because it's a first down and you get it, and that's great. Oh, no. How about if you run? How about if you keep going? Maybe you'll break a tackle like James Jones. I mean, it happens. How many times? And I'm not talking back shoulder throws. That happens. Then you go out of bounds then. I'm talking, when it's a go route and he beat the guy, or sometimes he lines up in the slot and then he takes that goes straight to the whatever that, I don't know what that's called, but whatever that angle, like a weird angle to the sideline and beats the guy, right? He did it in the playoffs against the Seahawks and whatever. But so I looked up all these stats. I went through everything, blah, blah, blah. That's all I'm saying. Right now, maybe Jordy Nelson and especially Greg Jennings, needs a little bit more love. When I looked at his stats, I was surprised how many Brett Favre touchdowns he had that were 40+. I was like, holy crap. I didn't write that stat down, but I was like, because I looked at his stat and I wrote it down here. Maybe I have it down here. Okay, yeah. So Greg Jennings has 21 touchdowns of 30+ yards. And he only has 11 from Aaron Rodgers. So he had 10 from Brett Favre. So half of his career, Brett Favre, right? He had half of them was with Brett Favre, half of them with Aaron Rodgers. That's still
these were just touchdowns with the Packers for Greg Jennings, right?
No, his whole career.
Oh, his whole career.
He had one with the Vikings from Matt Castle at the time. Matt Castle apparently was his quarterback that year. Jordy Nelson has 23 touchdowns in his entire career of 30+ yards, but 21 with the Packers. And then James Jones has 14 and only 10 with the Packers. So he had a bunch with other teams for some reason, which is kind of wacky. But
can't underestimate James Jones, man.
Yeah.
He was the man.
And here's the other thing. Jordy Nelson had 69 touchdowns as a Packer, 72 total. So he only had 3 with the Raiders when he was there. These little things I looked up. Randall Cobb, 56 total touchdowns in his career so far. 50 of them are with the Pack. James Jones had 51 touchdowns in his career. 45 with the Pack. Greg Jennings, 64 in his career, 53 with the Pack. And why does he only have 53 with the Packers? Because the entire time he was there, he either had Donald Driver alongside him, or he had Jordy and James Jones and all these guys, and the ball was going to everybody. Why does Devante Adams have 70,000 touchdowns? Oh, because that's Rodgers throws in the ball 85,000 times. So I just think one of two things is going to happen this year with Devante gone and with Christian Watson. If Rodgers and LaFleur needs to realize, hey, even if Watson drops some balls, we've got to go deep with them. We got to keep doing the MVS stuff. And they can't just do it once or twice a season. Like every game, the guys need to be in there and do some end arounds with them. He's really good with his hand, with the ball in his hands after he gets it. Sometimes he can't catch it, but I think he could be like a Jordy Nelson type. He's the closest thing to Jordy Nelson we've had in a long time. He just got to fix the hands. And maybe Rodgers it won't happen right away because he won't trust him. But maybe by week 5 or 6, maybe he'll trust Watson and things will change. I know you don't believe that, but you never know. And I wish somebody would go and look at him and show these stats to Rodgers and be like, dude, how did you have 43 touchdowns of 40+ yards your first 7 years as a starter and only 19 the last 7 years as a starter? And 8 of them were to MVS. How do you do that?
That part's so crazy.
How do you only have 11 touchdowns of 40+ yards if you take MVS's out? Is it because you're not taking chances, or is it because the players suck? Combination of both, probably. But it's still one of those things that when I saw that stat and I saw the 10 names on the list and Aaron Rodgers was not one of them, I had to find out why. And I believe the reason is obviously talent around him, but also he doesn't take the shot. Only to MVS, and only when MVS beats his guy. Or Jake Kumaro, who's got 2 touchdowns.
Jake Kumaro.
He has 2 touchdowns as a Packer. They're both 30+ yard touchdowns, just so you know. So, Eckes, there you go. And in his career, he has 3 touchdowns, and they're all 30+ yards.
Oh, Rick said it before. He'll say it again. Change up the snap count so AR can use his hard count. Stop running the play clock down every single time.
That's the other thing. I sent that to everybody in the chat today. There was an article about it. They're like, hey, Packer fans, remember all the times, and you think, man, it seems like the Packers are holding the ball. The longest, they showed a stat. The two coaches that have the longest snap count holding or whatever the crap it was Matt LaFleur with 3.3 seconds and Mike McCarthy with 2.2 seconds or something like that, where it was like the worst percentage of, I can't remember exactly what it was, but they were the two guys who were, the most of the time the snap count's going to 1 second or worse sometimes.
Yeah, there's like an average snap point in the play clock, and they were like plus a certain amount of that point, and a bunch of other coaches were before that point, and they had the highest ones. And well, just a news flash, Matt LaFleur has only had one head coaching job, and it's the Packers, and had Aaron Rodgers. And the other guy on the list that was behind him, or that was closest to him, was Mike McCarthy, who for most of his coaching career as a head coach had Aaron Rodgers. So,
but the Packers used to do, they used to get up and do stuff.
Yes.
I mean, they used to like do hurry up offense just for the heck of it to try to change some stuff up.
That was McCarthy's go-to when stuff was stagnant. He'd be like, well, let's just go up tempo or no huddle or whatever. And then they do it.
It works.
Yeah.
I think Rodgers is sometimes the best at that. Why does he never want to do it?
I don't know.
The other thing that was funny was in that article, there was a thing that was like, yeah, whenever you get mad because a defensive lineman is in the backfield before your right tackle even gets off his set, you can blame Aaron Rodgers for that because he lets the play clock go to 1 second and everybody knows when the ball's getting snapped. So they know exactly when to go. Like, how about if you go a little sooner? So that the guys don't, like, they just watch the play clock and then wait. 1 second. Okay, now I'm going. I mean,
the other part that drives me a little crazy with all that is we watched for years. I think it was better last year. Well, not all the time, because remember some of the plays where Rasul Douglas was lined up against two guys on his own and still made the play. But the other thing it lends you to is you don't let the defense get set up. And the Packers watch film of their own games every freaking week and would see their defense not lined up and teams snap the ball and how that would give that team the advantage because they weren't lined up where they're supposed to be lined up yet because they snapped it quick. Yet they won't do that themselves. What the hell? I don't get it.
Let's think about some of these passes here of 30 plus yards and how many of them came because the defense wasn't ready. Both to Robert Tonyan were broken plays for sure. Spencer Hafeman, I'm pretty sure that was a broken play.
Hey, Hafeman was underrated. He had great athleticism.
Whatever. We got Ty Montgomery had one. James Starks, that was probably a screen pass. But anyways, it's just, we all know what the problem is because Rodgers talks about it after his first year or whatever it was, and he was like, yeah, look, Matt's over there having a heart attack, and he's like, you just got to trust me, and I know what I'm doing, and blah. No, you don't know what you're doing. Because the 49ers took advantage of it in the playoffs last year. Because I watched it on film. They would line up one way, and then with 1 second on the snap count, they'd change to a different coverage, and Rodgers got tricked, and he played like crap. And for 9 consecutive drives, they did not move into scoring range. 9 consecutive drives with no points because they sat and wasted the clock down to 1 second. Every time. That's not good football. That's not good football. That's not smart football. Change it up. Make the defense not know what the hell's going on. It's that simple.
I remember some of Greg Jennings' long touchdowns were because the Vikings were all screwed up, but they blew coverages, and then he's running by himself. And like, hey, throw it to me, and it's a touchdown. Yeah. What you don't have to always know what the other team is, or think you know what the other team is going to do to snap the ball. Sometimes you can just snap it when they don't know what they're doing yet, and you can take advantage of that. And that works pretty damn good. It's worked every single season in the NFL. Teams do it all the time, just not the Packers under this quarterback. So, Bruce, this is, I know you're trying to get cheeky here, but no, it's not that case. That's not the case. It's because Aaron Rodgers has always said it. He said it for a long time. He made some designation at some point that he wanted to figure out what the other team was doing. He got in this chess match and decided he wanted to be the smartest guy. So he was always going to try to get the tip get them to give away what they're doing so he would know and then he'd know what to do. Except now teams know that's what he's trying to do, so they adapt to it. And Ben talked about it being prevalent in the 49ers playoff game, and that's what you saw.
I think it's not a bad thing to do.
No.
But when you do it every single
times,
play,
right,
it's predictable. And
Of
when
course.
the defense is able to predict what you're going to do every time, they
Doesn't
have the
help you.
advantage. They have the advantage. Could you imagine if the Packers maybe 5 times would have snapped the ball with 6 seconds on the play clock while the 49ers were lined up in the wrong defense when they know that they were supposed to switch to a different defense with 1 second left on the play clock? They would have been out of position. They would have been out of position and screwed up. And we probably would have had a touchdown deep or something good. Because the ball would have been snapped, and then guys would have had to move to a different spot. And some guys would have moved at different time and different pace, and they would have been all out of whack, and there would have been someplace open, right? But because they waited till the last second every time to snap the ball, the 49ers were exactly ready. Everybody moved in motion at the exact same time and switched the defense from whatever they give the man look with 1 safety deep turned into a frickin' 3 deep shell zone. They switched from a zone to a man all the time. Or they just changed stuff, and Rodgers had no idea what was going on. And he would change the play thinking that, oh, yeah, they're in 3 deep zones, so I can change the play to this. 3 guys run 30 yards, and then 2 guys just run to the line of scrimmage on 3rd and 8. That'll work. Dumb. But anyways, so that's there. I have a lot of stats. Sorry about that. Go back to you. That was a fun segment of 40-plus yard touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers. One more time. 43 touchdowns of 40-plus yards in Aaron Rodgers' first 7 seasons as a starter. That is possibly, I think, the most dangerous quarterback in the history of NFL. 43 touchdowns of 40-plus yards in a 7-year period. And in the last 7 years, Kirk Cousins is the best at 32.
I almost gave a really off-color joke there, but anyway, I held it in. Hold it in. Good job,
11, that's 11 touchdowns better. 11 touchdowns better. Aaron Rodgers.
And we know he's better than Kirk Cousins, and he should be. But he should play like it, too, and have more.
Well, he's not better.
He should have more long touchdowns than Kirk Cousins. That's just not right.
Well, the last Kirk Cousins has beat him 32-19 in the last 7 years.
Boy.
So that tells you right there. Kirk Cousins is almost 60% better or 30% better than Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, my gosh. All right. So there are
a deep touchdown threat.
There are a couple other myth-busting things, but I'll save them for later because I wanted to get to this. We promised it last week. We're going to get to it. I want to know. We don't want to go on too long. So I want to know one. We'll do one each week. Maybe we'll do more each week if we don't have too many other things to talk about. We'll do more than one. I want to know one Packer you're excited to see in 2022, what they're going to do. Give me one player, Ben.
Me?
Yeah. Well, in the chat too. Like, who's somebody you're really excited about this upcoming season?
Well, the guy I'm excited about is Devante Wyatt. This is the first time in Packer history where I mock draft that guy to the Packers every single time I could at 22. And they got him at 28. So this is the first time they actually drafted the guy I wanted in the first round. And so I really want to see him do well. I'm really looking forward to watch him play. Because I think he could be a very, very, very disruptive player at defensive tackle. I think he could be what Kingsley Keke was at times, where he would just destroy a guard or destroy a center and get to the backfield and just mess up a play. You know, he's a one-gap penetrating defensive lineman, and that's something we just haven't had other than Kingsley Keke, but Keke sometimes would just not make the play. He'd get back there, and then he would miss a tackle or whatever. So I'm interested to see. That's the guy I'm most excited to see, I think, this year. Because it's a guy I wanted. So hopefully he doesn't suck.
Word out of Packers practice was that TJ Slayton has been looking like a big upgrade this year, like he's really coming along. And so with his size, they're thinking he could maybe play nose guard and more, and they might actually play a little more 5-man front. And that Slayton could hold down the nose, and then you could have the dangerous Kenny Clark at 3-tech along with Devante Wyatt. So we'll see. We'll see if all that happens. But anyway, that's word on the street. For me, one guy that comes right to my mind is Tyler Davis. I think the tight end group has been, Tunyon, we don't know how he's going to be coming off the injury. We don't know how long it's going to take. I know they like DeGuara, but DeGuara's had injury problems. Sadie's as old as dirt. Like, they found this guy. He's big. He's fast. He's got some abilities. I think.
A giant nose.
He's got a huge nose. Lead the way. I'm excited to see what he can do this year. I hope he gets some opportunities, being on the field a lot. And there's talk he might end up being their opening day starting tight end. So.
Well, they don't have anybody else.
And if, there's not that many guys Aaron Rodgers trusts on the field, or the old guys can't get open, well, maybe he'll have to throw to that guy. I don't know.
Maybe.
So I'm excited to see what he does. So we'll have more players we're excited about to put the positive on the show and not just hammer on stuff, because we don't want to just hammer.
Well, I'm also excited about this guy.
Woo! Well, of course.
Because it's probably his last year as a Packer.
It
Next
is.
year his contract balloons
Definitely
to
his
like
last
20-some million dollars. So they're going to either have to restructure him or something. Hopefully he gets restructured, because let's face it, Aaron Jones is...
He only had 171 carries last year.
I know.
That's ridiculous. There were games he had less than 10 carries. A number of games where he had.
Really dumb. It's really dumb. But also, the other thing that's really, really dumb is that they never would play those two guys together on the field. They never would play A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones at the same time. And I don't know why. Because it would totally mess up the defense. It would totally, and then move Aaron Jones in motion and do a bunch of maybe they'll do more of that this year. They talked about it a lot last year, and then we never saw it. And we certainly didn't see it in the playoffs. We thought we'd see it in the playoffs, didn't see it once. So I don't know if that's Aaron Rodgers who's squashing that or what's going on. But we all know Matt LaFleur doesn't even know who the running back is in the game. So because he lets Ben Simmons decide who's going to play. Because he doesn't call plays for players. He just calls plays. And whoever's in there runs the play. That's dumb. Call plays for the players. You're not going to call a freaking go route play action go route for freaking Alan Lazard. No, you're going to call a play action go route for MVS or now Christian Watson.
Wide receiver 1. Bruce, how do you feel about Alan Lazard? Number 1 wide receiver in the pack this year. How do you feel about that? Okay, Mom says Mason Crosby. She's excited for Mason to make every field goal and every extra point. There you go.
I don't know about that, Mom. I'll say this about Alan Lazard. Just so you know, I looked up some stats on him today because I was looking at all these stats, right?
Yep.
Alan Lazard, on average yards per target, is an entire yard more than Devante Adams and Greg Jennings. Just so you know. That's yards per target. Also, his catch percentage is better than Devante Adams and Jordy Nelson and Greg Jennings, and way better than MVS, because MVS is like 49% or 48%. Alan Lazard's was 68-point-something% catch percentage.
Wow.
And he had an average yard per target of 9.1. So those stats are better than some of the greatest wide receivers in Packer history.
He just got to stay on his feet.
Right. His run after the catch isn't great.
Yeah.
As we all, well, it's not terrible, but
his run before the catch.
Sometimes you're right. He gets stripped up before he even gets going. Yeah, you're right. But I mean, so as much as I think Lazard could be something like those are good stats. I mean, a higher percentage or a higher catch percentage rate than Devante Adams, Jordy Nelson, Greg Jennings.
Then why didn't they pay him? Why didn't they pay him a little bit?
I think that's why he wants more money. I think he looked at his stats and he was like, listen, I have way better yards per target, way better catch percentage. I'm a best blocker wide receiver, one of the best in the NFL, on a team that wants a wide receiver to block.
Aside from Robert Woods, who's really good.
He's not that good. We all know what that was. But if Lazard could just stop tripping over his own feet and like it also become a little bit better. He did it last year a couple times with the contested catch where like he went up and grabbed the ball and came down with it, and I was like, hey, Lazard, I hadn't seen that ever happen. I mean, when you're 6'5", you need to go up there and get the contested touchdown catch. Let's go.
Yeah,
he did it last. He did it last. He had 8 touchdowns last year. He only has 14 in his career.
You got to play like you're 6'5", and for quite a bit of time he played like he was 6'1". I
mean, seriously, like what's
play big, dude? You're big.
Drake London went number 9 or 10 or whatever it was this year in the draft. Lazard is pretty much Drake London. I mean, he's the same guy, and he's undrafted. So Lazard could be something, and I guess that's another guy I'm looking forward to see what happens with Devante gone. Can Lazard put it all together, be a great blocker like he is, but also, maybe get some possession catches, get some slants, could use your body to shield off guys, fight through the guy who smacks you a little bit, like which he didn't do in the playoffs against Tampa Bay when they got that bullcrap interception at the end of the second half, because he didn't fight through the guy, and then the guy just grabbed him and held onto him and then jumped off and picked off Aaron Rodgers, right? He's got to knock that guy out, shield him off with his body, and then catch the ball. Those are things he needs to work on, but he has some potential, and it's either that or goodbye, and this is his year to do it. So you got all the opportunity in the world to make plays, so this is Lazard's year to make plays.
One other guy, I guess since you named more than one, that's fine. I'm going to name more than one. Another guy I'm excited about this year.
Well, I don't know if I'm excited. I'm just saying it's now or never. Like, let's see it happen. That's what I'm saying.
The guy I'm looking forward to 2022, what he can do.
No, I want you to pick me a now or never guy.
Now or never?
A guy this is his now or never. Now is the time to make us. I can think of 3 more guys.
I think it's the same guy I'm excited about, which is Yash. So
yeah, I agree.
Freaking Yash. If Yash gets to play, he's gonna earn himself a lot of money if he plays well. And the Packers will regret what they. I'm pissed that they let LP go, but they kept Yash. I wish they would have signed him to a longer term deal for cheaper. Now he's gonna cost a lot of money after this year. I'm excited to see what he does. I hope he gets to play right tackle when Bakhtiari comes back, but he can play left tackle if Bakhtiari can come back and still has problems with his knee. Well, okay. The tackle situation is going to be really interesting because right now they got freaking Cole Van Lanen working in there at first team. That guy was terrible last year. Like, I don't even know why. He was terrible. I thought he'd be better. He was a Badger for crying out loud, but he was really bad. Really, really bad.
He was at the charity softball game, though.
I mean, he's a nice dude, but he just wasn't.
You know who else at the charity softball game? Aaron Jones.
Favre. Oh,
Brett Favre. Aaron Jones. AJ Dillon.
And James Jones. All the Joneses. James Jones.
It was a bunch of guys that nobody knew, and then Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon, and who's the other one that people actually knew? I don't know. But it was like Cole Van Lanen and O'Donnell, the punter, and you know what I mean? Guys like that.
Well, no, the other guy that's now or never. Well, it might be now or retire, which is Mom's guy, Mason, right here.
Poor Mason.
Did you see the kick?
Did you see the kicker
they signed? Did you see his mustache?
Yes, it was terrible.
Did you see the picture of that guy?
He looks so dumb. He looks like a Viking. That's why I'm surprised the Vikings cut him, because he looked like he should be a Viking. He looks so doofy. He looks like a doofus. Now we got the guy with the doofiest freaking mullet of all time, and now we got another guy with the doofiest mustache of all time. It's like, how many more dumb doofus-looking guys can we get on this team?
Is it true they only signed him to make Aaron Rodgers' facial hair look better?
Maybe, because they can't compete with Gardner Minshew.
True. All right. True fact. It's a fact. Never mind. All right. So next week, Ben, will you commit to a top 10 list next week?
No.
Damn it. I'm going to commit to a top 10 list. I have not done
one. Next week, heads up. Mom and Dad, we might be coming Friday because apparently Jesse took off of work.
Oh, okay.
So right. I might not be able to do one next week because I'll be in Algoma, maybe.
What, you can't work just because you're in Algoma? What the hell, man?
Well, I'll do it from my phone.
All right, fair enough. I'm going to commit to a top 10 list for next week. Top 10 offensive linemen. That's what I'm going to do next week in the NFL. Not just a top 10 Packer offensive lineman. I could give you that if you prefer, but
I don't even think you know enough offensive linemen for that to be a legit top 10.
I will study him. I'm going to look at all the guys that everybody says are the greatest, and then I'm going to look at guys I know that are good, and then I'm going to compare, and I'll come up with the top 10 list. And there's going to be some interesting categories that will weigh in the offensive lineman stratosphere for me that maybe not everybody looks at. But we'll see. I'm going to commit to it. All right. Lastly, before we go, it's Birthday Bonanza. We have all these birthdays. We got to give fart gun salutes for all of them. Okay. First one was on the 14th. This mid-June is like birthday time for the Hafeman Bros crew. So brother-in-law Andrew, father of person who has birthday today, he had his birthday. How old has he been? Is he 40 yet?
Yeah, he's 40.
40, 41, something like that.
I think he's a year. He's like a little bit older than Snare. So whatever Snare turns this year.
Okay, Sarah turns 40, right?
No, she's already then.
Oh yeah, 41.
So Andrew must be 41 right now.
All right.
Sorry, Andrew. We just told you how old you are.
Congratulations, Andrew! Another year of life completed. Way to go! All right.
Nice.
Now today is the actual birthday of someone else. Said Spawn, as someone might call it, but also offspring. So maybe offspring's better. Of the previous birthday celebrator, and that is a man who just reached double digits, 30 plus years behind his parents. Ephraim Kerbal, his former favorite Packer was Devante Adams. He has to find a new favorite Packer for 2022. Ephraim, congratulations on turning 10 today.
He turned 10 today? I thought he turned 11 because he's so tall. He's only 10?
He's 10.
Well, then how is little Princess Leia 10? Because that girl's got to be like 6 on that show.
No, she's 14.
What? Princess Leia?
No, she's not. It's all messed up. They should have went with Jimmy Smith or whatever. He's so old now. It doesn't work out.
Oh.
But Ephraim, congratulations on turning 10. Now we have to turn our attentions as we continue with the birthday bonanza to the upcoming birthdays. Now we have 2 honorary family members that are back-to-back birthdays. Up first is the man who had the birthday. Dang, now I'm going to get him screwed up. Someone's on the 20th and someone's on the 21st, and I always get them screwed up.
Well, Nico's on the 20th. So
Nico's the 20th because it was the inaugural launch of the WNBA season was on Nick's birthday. He always remembers that. So that's why Ben remembers. So Nico, Kamiko, we'll see you in a few weeks. Happy birthday, Nico, a little bit early. And finally, the other birthday, which is the 21st, which is the summer solstice. I know that is Uncle Rick, known by he's known by Uncle Rick. Some people know him as Raider Rick. Some people on this show know him as Rational Rick. Either way, he's our moderator of all debate shows. He is also the Wonder Rick, the founder of the Wonder Rick test and everything else that goes along with that. And he's also self-proclaimed worm wrangler.
And beer maker.
Beer maker, worm wrangler. Happy birthday, Rick. So those are the 4 birthdays here for this show.
That's a lot of birthdays in one show.
Next week, we'll see. I don't know if he's got it. We get a lull after that, but we do have all these birthdays right in the middle of June. So that's what I know. So for everybody, Andrew, Ephraim, Nico, Raider Rick.
Nice.
You're welcome. Happy birthday, and you're welcome.
And then a quick funny aside to show you why Facebook is weird is my friend Christy put a picture of her with the birthday cake on her Facebook today and got 86 birthday wishes. And it's not her birthday. I saw even you gave her a birthday wish today.
I don't know people's birthdays.
I know you don't, but she got 86 people saying happy birthday to you. And she's like, it's not my birthday. I just put that picture on there. Because I know her birthday is the same birthday as our dog when we were growing up, Buffy, April 6th.
Oh, that's what that meant. Okay.
So that's why I always remember Chrissy's birthday because it's April 6th. So she fooled a bunch of people, but she couldn't fool me. I was like, I'm not giving you a birthday wish. I know it's not your birthday. I don't even think I gave you a birthday wish on your birthday. So I'm a jerk too. I'm a jerk, and I'm not going to get fooled.
Well, congrats to you for that. And Christy Z, happy belated birthday to you. A few months too late. All right. Well, that's all we got for you tonight. I got some other notes. Remember, don't forget to tune in next week when it's the top 10 offensive linemen for the 2022 season. Oh, and that factors in what I expect from them in 2022, not just what they did last year. That might give you a hint at probably who's number one, but we'll get there next week.
Yeah, I wonder who number one could be.
Offensive lineman, top 10. Rick. Maybe I'll bring in Rick for that one too to help me out with that because he loves offensive.
You might have to because, like I said, I might not be on. I don't know.
All right, we'll figure it out. All right, peace out, everybody. Be good, stay good, and remember, Devante Adams is not the best Packer receiver of all time, not even the last 20 years.
I proved that already just today. He's definitely not the most dynamic or scary.
All right, we'll catch you next week. Be good. Still hoping, did I treat you? Got to find